You owe me a recap for last week. Can I pay with beer? Only Jaime complains about the noises nobody else hears, SMH. You know, I'll tell the neighbors to crank the volume up, man. Usually I watch you before I go to school on the toilet, but today you get the honor of being the last video I watch before I go to sleep. I feel flattered that I'm not on the toilet anymore. That's right, it's that time of the week. I am Jaime Rivera, this is Pocket Now, and this is the Pocketnow Daily Recap for last week. So on Monday, the topic was the possibility of a future HTC Nexus, or probably two, as the rumors point that that's going to happen. And I asked you, what would you want from this future Nexus smartphone made by HTC? We had 780 comments. If HTC builds something like the Nexus 9, ain't no one gonna buy it. And that wasn't such a bad tablet. I mean, hey, but it was mostly Google's design anyways. I want nice build quality and boom sound, but I hope it doesn't have giant bezels and a terrible camera, which HTC is notorious for having. Yeah, I agree. Obviously, boom sound is a must-have for this HTC Nexus device. It can be 5.3-inch to 5.7-inch device with micro SD expansion, 3500 mAh battery, 12 to 16 megapixel camera, fingerprint scanner, no bezels, and for the love of God, no HTC chin bar, please. I think you got it all, man. Then on Tuesday, the topic was Samsung. There are rumors that the company is only going to launch the smaller phones for early this year and leave the phablets for later, and I asked you if you would mind. We had 540 comments. Bring back removable batteries and expandable storage, and I'm coming back to Samsung. Yeah, I guess you don't mind then. I don't know if I'm the only one nowadays, but I don't really care about phablets. I still prefer phones with a 5-inch screen. It must be lonely out there, isn't it? It makes no sense to release another phablet so soon. From a marketing standpoint, it's just dumb. If one is released, it'll flop. Only people buying it are techies or people rolling in cash. I doubt any sensible person would upgrade from an S6 Edge Plus they bought less than 4 months ago. And I do agree. I feel that that's just what Samsung's doing. Probably the company just designed all the phones at the same time and they prototyped them as well, but they're going to hold off the phablets for later. On Wednesday, the topic was mainly analysts predicting that for 2016, people are going to stop spending so much on smartphones. Apparently, it's the time for the premium mid-range, and I asked you if you had the option, would you go for a premium mid-range as the ones we've seen today, or would you buy a flagship? We had 1,169 comments. Thanks a lot. Your income will be the judge of that, and you know, I left this comment first because I actually don't agree with it. I constantly see people that can't afford an expensive phone with an expensive phone, and then I constantly see people with tons of cash that end up buying these like dumb phones because they just don't like spending much. Premium mid-rangers are good, but if I have a phone for 1 or 2 years, I'm going flagship all the way, and yeah, that is probably the best way to go. But then again, it's funny, these flagships are the ones that age worse sometimes because they're the topic of attention, so companies do planned obsolescence early in order to have people buy other flagships and make more money. If my budget allows it, I'd always go for flagship devices. Those are the devices companies focus on most, and thus they would be the best phones available. True in theory in most cases. I wish we could say that about Samsung phones, for example. They age great when it comes to hardware this year, but their software, never mind. On Thursday, the topic was the iPhone mini or 5SE, whatever you want to call it, as we saw it leaked on video, and we asked you if you thought that those leaks were real because it just looks like a downsampled iPhone 6. Eventually, we learned that it probably was real. We had 869 comments. I feel that the iPhone 5S was the best designed iPhone, and I love how some of the comments, or pretty much in this video in particular, none of the comments had to do with the question, but then again, you're alone in that. No, you're not. A lot of people like the iPhone 5S design. I particularly didn't because of the chamfers and how bad they looked after a month. If they made a smaller iPhone, I'd prefer it to look something like the 5.5S with a little redesign, not like the 6.6S line. You mean something in between, and I wouldn't mind that so long as they don't go cheapskate like the iPhone 5C, for example. Knowing Apple, this iPhone mini will probably be like $50 cheaper than the 6S, and you know, I had this thought this morning where I was like, you know, they'll probably charge more for this phone, and then they'll bring Johnny Ive on video saying the miniaturization process that was used on this phone was so infatuating, if that's even a word, and just to justify the reason why it's so expensive is because it costs more to make the component smaller. That's Apple, man. And then finally, Friday, we heard how Google was obligated to disclose how much money they had made with Android because of the whole Oracle lawsuit and stuff. And I asked you, do you believe that companies should keep that information a secret? We had 400 comments. We start with, I don't care how much they are making as long as they give me good products. You know, a lot of companies are making a lot of money and not making good products. But hey, yeah, Pocketnow should post all their expenses and profits on each of their activities, and so should Jaime. I, as a random dude on the internet, has the right to know where they are headed, and I love your sarcasm. I bought scotch this morning. Should that count? I'm fine. A company is private just like anyone else is private in their salary. They aren't obligated to display their money. And the main reason why I ask this question is because we have cases like, for example, Apple. They have the Apple Watch and they don't want to disclose how many products they've sold or how much money they've made. And so it's really hard for the market to grasp market share that way. And Apple is doing it intentionally because they're not making much money. I feel that companies should at least be obligated to disclose how many products they sold. I mean, they only tell you how many iPhones they sell, but they don't tell you how many iPhone 6s are sold. And I feel that that should be disclosed in a way that other companies should know how Apple is doing with this year's products, not with the whole scope. I mean, they have 3 products on the lineup. I think you get my opinion. That's it for the Pocketnow Daily Recap. Thank you very much for watching. A couple of tips if you want your comments to be featured. Number 1, keep them short. Number 2, stick to the point. Number 3, try to get some thumbs up. It helps us spot them a lot easier. You can also follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. And now you can catch every other video except this one on Vessel at vessel.com/pocketnow. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.